Let's talk about leadership habits because here's what I know to be true. The potential of your leadership is a direct reflection of the quality of your habits. Let me say that again. The potential of your leadership is a direct reflection of the quality of your habits. If you want a bigger impact, you need better habits. Now, most leaders understand this on some level. We all know we need to develop good habits, read more, communicate better, be more strategic. And that's all true. But here's what most leaders miss. It's not enough to just build the right habits. You also have to eliminate the wrong ones. Think about it. In your personal life, you already know this. You know you need to stop eating junk food. You know you need to stop scrolling at midnight. You know you need to stop putting out the hard stuff. We understand this in our personal life, but when it comes to leadership, most of us have never stopped to ask, what habits are actually holding me back? So today, I'm going to walk through the 5 habits that great leaders avoid. And I'm willing to bet you have at least 1 or 2 of these. I know I have. And the good news is, once you see them, you can change them. And that changes everything. Before we get into the 5, let me tell you why this matters so much right now. Most leaders are focused on doing more. More meetings, more projects, more initiatives. More output. And I get it. We're all results-driven people. That's what makes us leaders. But here's the problem. You can be incredibly busy and completely ineffective at the same time. Activity is not the same as impact. And what I've seen over and over again, working with leaders and teams and organizations, is that the biggest thing holding most leaders back is not what they are failing to do. It's what they refuse to stop doing. Your habits will shape your results, for better or for worse. So if you want to change your leadership, you have to change your habits. And sometimes that means having the courage to look in the mirror and to be honest about what you see. So let me walk you through these 5. I'm going to tell you what the habit is, why it's dangerous, and what to do instead. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, the habit of doing too much. This is one of the most common bad habits that limits leaders all over the world. And it comes from a good place. It comes from drive. It comes from ambition. It comes from caring about results. But here's what I need you to understand. Doing too much does not just steal your energy, it suffocates your productivity. Let me say that again. Doing too much does not just steal your energy, it suffocates your productivity. We don't just want to be busy, we want to be effective. And this sounds counterintuitive, but I promise you it's true. You do not grow by doing more. You grow by doing more of what matters the most. Most leaders want to do more, more, more. Busier, busier, busier. Take on more, conquer more. But you didn't increase your impact simply by doing more. You increase your impact by focusing on what actually moves the needle. So what do you do when you know you're doing too much? Here's the framework. 4 words. Evaluate, eliminate, delegate, automate. First, evaluate. Look at everything you do, every task, every meeting, every activity, and ask yourself, is this mission critical? Is it important and strategic? Is it meaningful but not vital? Or is it something that someone else asked me to do that is honestly a lower priority? Most leaders have a massive amount of their time tied up in things that are meaningful but not vital. Those things are quietly stealing from the work that actually matters. Second, eliminate. Cut as many things as possible from the lower tiers. And here's the key. Stop asking yourself, can I do this? Start asking yourself, should I do this? That one question is a game changer, because just because you could do something doesn't mean that you should. And here's a little secret. If someone asks you to take something on and you hesitate, even for a second, the answer is probably no. Third, delegate. Hand things off to other trusted people. And listen to me on this. If you do not delegate, your unwillingness to delegate will eventually become the bottleneck that strangles your team's potential. You will become the thing that is in the way. And fourth, automate. Look at anything you can streamline. Decisions that can follow a preset criteria, communications that follow a system, processes that don't require your personal touch every single time. Growing your impact starts with subtraction, not addition. You don't change the world by living in the lower tiers. The best leaders never just do more, they do more of what matters. Habit number 2, the habit of avoiding conflict. We all know leaders like this. And if we're being honest, many of us are this leader. We avoid conflict because we're afraid of it, because we do not want to hurt people's feelings, because we're uncomfortable with tension, because we just want everyone to be happy. And I get it. Conflict is uncomfortable. That's literally why most leaders avoid it. But here's what you need to understand. Avoiding conflict may feel easy in the moment, but it's always going to be more difficult in the long run because unresolved problems rarely fix themselves. Think about that. If you have a conflict with someone on your team and you just hope it gets better, when has that actually ever worked? Unresolved problems just do not go away. They grow, they spread, and they erode trust over time. If problems were easy to solve without leaders stepping in, then leaders would not be necessary. Conflict is a part of the job, and it's not a sign that something is wrong with your leadership. It's a sign that you are actually leading. So how do you get better at this? 3 things. Number 1, change your mindset about conflict. Think of it like a marriage. If you're married, you have figured out by now that conflict is inevitable. The best couples don't avoid fights, they fight fair. They fight clean. The unhealthy couples are the ones who fight dirty or pretend that problems are not there. Same thing in leadership. It's not about whether you will have a conflict. It's about how you will have the conflict. And I want you to hear this. Don't be afraid of conflict. Be afraid more of unresolved conflict. Those are 2 very different things. Number 2, see problems early and solve them quickly. If there's a bad interaction, if someone says something that just doesn't sit right, don't wait. Go to them. Say something like, hey, this relationship is important to me, and I don't want to let something get in between us. Can we talk about it? What you're doing is saying, this could become a problem, and I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to address it now while it's still small, because conflict is like a health issue. Early detection increases the likelihood of a positive outcome. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Number 3, be willing to hash it out and walk out united. You can disagree, you can argue, you can work through hard things, and you can come out stronger on the other side. Because healthy conflict is not about just winning or losing. It's about growing and learning together. The strongest teams I have ever been a part of are not the ones that never had conflict. They're the ones that work through conflict together, and that is what built the trust. Don't avoid conflict. Walk into it with courage, walk out of it with unity. Habit number 3. The habit of doing what you have always done. You've probably heard the quote attributed to Henry Ford. If you've always done what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I like that quote. It's powerful, but I would tell you that it's not always true. And here's why. Sometimes if you do what you've always done, you actually get less than what you've always gotten. Why? Because the world changes. What worked last year might not work this year. Markets evolve, technology advances, team dynamics shift, customer expectations change. And what happens to a lot of leaders is they are slow to notice this. They keep running the same play and wondering why it's not working like it used to. Or even worse, they double down on a bad idea and try to do it better instead of doing something different. Here's a phrase I want you to remember. The greatest threat to future success is often past success. Just because something worked well before does not mean it will keep working. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into the trap of confusing familiarity with effectiveness. You keep doing it not because it works, but because it's comfortable. Now, here's the other side. Sometimes, if you do what you've always done, you get more than you've always gotten. Think of it like investing. You put in a little bit consistently, and for a while, it doesn't seem like much. But then compound interest kicks in, and the results become exponential. Same thing in leadership. You keep developing your people, keep building your systems, keep refining your processes, and one day you hit a tipping point. The results explode. Not because you did something new, because you stayed faithful to what was working. So should you keep doing what you've always done, or should you change? And my answer is this. It depends. But here's the principle. You do not want to keep doing what you've always done accidentally. And you do not want to change without intention. Being static is dangerous. Being erratic is also dangerous. What you want is to be intentional. So here are 4 questions I want you to ask yourself. 1, is this strategy still aligned with our current goals? Make sure you tell the truth. 2, are we committed to this because it's effective or because it's comfortable? 3, where are we seeing diminishing returns and what should we do about it? And 4, if someone replaced me in my role tomorrow, what is the first thing that would change? That last one will convict you because you probably already know the answer. You just haven't done anything about it yet. Habit number 4, the habit of micromanaging. Now, before you skip ahead and say, that's not me, hear me out. because micromanaging doesn't always look like the way you think it does. Yes, micromanaging is the leader who checks on every detail, hovers over every desk, and has to approve every decision before anything moves. That's the obvious version. But there's a more subtle version. It's the leader who delegates the task, but not the authority. The leader who says, I trust you to handle this, and then rewrites the entire thing when it comes back. Or the leader who asks for updates so frequently that the team spends more time reporting on the work than actually doing the work. If any of that sounds familiar, this one is for you. Here's what micromanaging really communicates to your team. It communicates, I do not trust you. I do not believe you are capable. I need to control this because I do not think you can handle it. And even if that's not what you mean, that's what they're going to hear. And here's the cost. When you micromanage, you don't just slow down the work. You shrink your people. You take motivated, capable professionals and you train them to wait for permission. You train them to stop thinking for themselves. You train them to bring every decision to you because they know you're going to override them anyway. And then you wonder why your team isn't stepping up. Micromanaging does not make you a more effective leader. It makes you a more exhausted one with a less capable team. So what do you do instead? 3 things. 1, delegate outcomes, not just tasks. Instead of telling someone exactly how to do something, tell them what success looks like and let them figure out the how. You'll be amazed at how often their approach is just as good as yours, sometimes better. 2, set check-in points, not checkups. There's a difference between a structured milestone review and constantly looking over someone's shoulder. Agree on when you'll reconnect and then give them the space to work in between. And 3, coach more, control less. When someone brings you a problem, don't solve it for them. Ask them what they think the solution is. Help them think through it. Build their decision-making ability instead of replacing it with yours. The best leaders don't create followers who just need them. They create leaders who don't. That is the goal, and you just cannot get there if you are micromanaging. And habit number 5, and this one might be the most important, the habit of hesitation. This is the leader who waits too long to make the call, the leader who needs one more meeting, one more data point, one more round of input before they can decide. The leader who knows what needs to happen, but keeps putting it off because the timing doesn't feel perfect. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about being thoughtful. Being thoughtful is wise. I'm not talking about gathering information, because information is important. I'm talking about the habit of knowing what you need to do and not doing it. Hesitation is not the same as patience. Patience is strategic. Hesitation is fear dressed up as wisdom. And here's what hesitation costs you. It costs you momentum. It costs you trust. And it costs you opportunities that don't wait around for you to feel ready. Think about the decisions that are sitting on your desk right now. The conversation you know you need to have. The change you know you need to make. The person you know you need to move. The strategy you know is not working. How long have you known? And what has that delay cost you? Because every day you hesitate, the problem is not standing still. It's growing. And your team sees it. They're watching. And when they see a leader who will not act, they do not think that leader is being careful. They think that leader is afraid. So what do? 2 things. 1, set a decision guideline. Give yourself a reasonable window to gather what you need and then decide. Not when you feel ready, not when the conditions are perfect, when the deadline arrives. Because perfect conditions just do not exist. And leaders who wait for perfect end up leading nothing. And 2, adopt this mindset. The cost of a wrong decision is almost always less than the cost of no decision. Let me say that again. The cost of a wrong decision is almost always less than the cost of no decision. You can recover from a bad call, but you can't recover time you wasted being frozen. The best leaders aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who move with courage, adjust quickly, and keep going. They would rather be wrong and fast than right and late. Hesitation is not leadership. Execution is. So let me bring this all together. We've talked about 5 habits that great leaders avoid. The habit of doing too much, the habit of avoiding conflict, the habit of doing what you've always done, the habit of micromanaging, and the habit of hesitation. And if you're being honest with yourself right now, you probably identified with at least 1 or 2 of those. And that's not a bad thing. That's a leadership thing. We all have blind spots. We all have habits that crept in without us noticing. The question is, What are you going to do about it? Because here's what I believe. You will never change what you're willing to tolerate, and you will not change what you will not confront. So if you recognize something today, if you saw yourself in one of these 5 habits, I'm asking you to be honest about it. Call it what it is and then start making the change. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It does not have to be overnight, but it does have to be intentional because your habits are shaping your results right now, whether you realize it or not. And the leaders who win long term are not the ones who are the most talented. They're the ones who are the most intentional about how they lead. The potential of your leadership is a reflection of the quality of your habits. So build the right ones and stop the wrong ones. That is how you grow. And that is how your team grows. And that's how everything changes. And everyone wins when the leader gets better. And today, you got better. If this was valuable to you, here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of these 5 habits you struggle with the most. I read the comments and I want to know what you're working through as the leader right now. And if you want more content like this on leadership, execution, and growing your impact, make sure to subscribe. I put out content every week to help you lead better and get real results. I'll see you in the next one.